Welcome to episode 6 of the Fantasy Flourish podcast. I'm your host, Ben Haas, and I'm joined by Matt Kittleberger. We're here to review week 3 and preview week 4 in our home league. Matt, how are you doing this evening?
This evening, we've had better days. Got stuck at the homecoming parade in Marysville, Ohio, which never heard of a homecoming parade. But other than that, I'm good. Sitting second place in this league, 3-0, 200 points behind number one in the league. But hey, still 3-0, so cannot complain.
Yeah, so let's review week 3 here. First of all, how did our picks go last week? So I don't have the sheet pulled up. What is our updated score between you and I for the weekly picks?
Rough week out of you last week. You had a big
display.
3 points, man. You tried to
display.
bring it back, but
I did.
Snake let you down, so you missed your underdog lead pipe lock Snake that was also in the marquee matchup. You got you and Ricky correct, as did I. I picked Allen over Snake. You took Mando over Eric. Sorry, you actually get 0 for that. So
yeah, it was a real rough display.
You had 2 points. Wait, you picked me over Jack. All right, back to 3 points. I just had bad scoring in here.
Yeah, real rough.
And you took Swarley. Yeah, so. And then, my lead pipe lock of myself hit over Juck. That's easy money.
So you take a big lead here, right?
Yeah, 29 for me, 17 for you. So.
Wow, that's an early hole for myself to climb out of. But I told you this week I'm switching up the strategy. I'm picking based off feel. I'm doing no research on these matchups. I'm picking straight off what I feel when we go through the matchup. So let's go through last week's results. The new kid on the block, Ricky, came in here 2-0. He was at the top of the league, right behind Eric, and I just took him out back, put him in the dirt. 153 to 117 victory for myself. Eric stayed hot. Another just absolutely dominant performance on the back of Lamar Jackson and Mark Andrews. 219 to 122 victory for Eric over Mando.
That's back-to-back weeks.
That's back-to-back over 200.
He scored 221 in week 2,
yes.
Which is insane.
Yeah, what a run here for the People's Champ. You took the victory over Juck, 133 to 98. Allen moved to 2-1, beating Snake 141 to 122. Snake, cannot believe I picked you to win, made you my lead pipe lock. I bought into the narrative that the old wily veteran would not go to 0-3, and boy, did that come back to bite me. And then Mook almost pulled it out with the Hail Mary from Sterling Shepard on Monday night, but in true Mook fashion, Sterling Shepard tore his ACL. So 105 to 98 victory for Swarley. The updated standings, Eric stays in first place. Far and away the most points in the league through 3 weeks for Eric. He is 3-0. You are 3-0 also in second place. I am in third place, 2-1. Allen is in fourth place at 2-1. Ricky in fifth at 2-1. And then Swarley in sixth at 2-1. So this league is 10 teams. Obviously, you guys know that. 8 teams make the playoffs. So this 7 and 8 range is like where it really gets interesting. So Juck is clinging on to the number 7 seed at 1-2. And then Snake, there's 3 0-3 teams. Snake, Mook, and Mando. Snake is still 0-3, somehow clinging onto that last playoff spot because he has the most points by 3 over Mook. So there's going to be, I think that those 4 teams, Juck, Snake, Mook, and Mando, like they're going to be battling it out, I think, for those last 2 playoff spots all season. Do you have any early predictions on which 2 of those 4 are going to make the playoffs?
What did I say last week? I still like Snake's team. He can't be like that bad for forever. I mean, Mahomes, CD,
I think
Taylor.
we did a little roster review for Snake on Fortnite the other night, and we confirmed his team has only scored. Obviously, he's made some pickups, but coming into last week, his active roster had only scored or after the games ended, I should say, had only scored 2 touchdowns total from his entire team. Just absolutely insane.
Yeah. So I would probably lean him, and then like
I think Mando's got to have the edge over the other two.
yeah, I think he can get out of that hole. Akers seems to be coming back to life a little bit more. Ramondre, I think, is going to get some more run,
Yeah.
especially if
I mean, look at Mando's points against. I mean, he clears by
yeah,
100, but he's got 100, almost 100 points scored against him more than anybody else.
yeah, and no Lance, so Debo gets a bump. Keenan will be back. He hasn't had Keenan since week 1. Jamar Chase and Burrow aren't going to be that bad all year. So yeah, and he's going to get Elijah Mitchell back. He has Alexander Madison now. I have not looked at any fantasy things this week, so I don't know how long Dalvin's out or even if he
Yeah,
is
I think
out.
Dalvin's going to play because they said it was a separated shoulder and he's done that before, so
Yeah.
they just popped it back in.
Yeah, and also has Brandon
Monday
Cooks.
night.
I mean, right now, probably him. I think Juck's probably. I know he's 1 and 2, but probably the worst of these rosters. Like
Yeah, former
Mook.
Super Bowl champion Juck. I mean, just a fall off here. I mean,
Yeah,
Kyler, we're heading into Call of Duty season. DJ Chark. I mean, sure, he's decent, especially if if Amon-Ra misses any time, but I mean, you don't feel great about him being your second receiver. Drake London's good, but Swift is hurt. He's going to be out, I think, at least a few weeks. Zeke is just essentially worthless at this point in time. Antonio Gibson's got that threat of Brian Robinson coming back here soon. So a lot's going to cling on what's he going to get from J.K. Dobbins here. And then Mike Evans is back, but I mean that offense is just really bad right now. So
yeah,
it's a tough look right now for Juck's team.
yeah. And looking at Mook's team too, like at some point you would think that the Panthers have to go to somebody other than Baker Mayfield, who is the worst quarterback statistically in the league.
Yeah,
I
so
think
I will agree. Like, not only is Baker bad, but I mean their play calling is it's really bad. Bottom 4 or 5 in the league for sure.
yeah, but you saw like top 5 play calling in the league in Cleveland, and it's still the same Baker Mayfield. So my hopes aren't high, but I mean McCaffrey could pop at any time. Juju's with Mahomes. Tyreek is gonna go crazy the entire year. Nick Chubb could end up as the RB1 if he stays healthy, since he seems
Yep.
to be like the only running back that they're using.
Yeah,
Maybe,
dude, and he's been one of the only ones that has scored a lot of points this season as
yeah,
well.
yeah. And then gets Herbert for a couple weeks at least, right? Is Montgomery out? Like I said, haven't
Yeah,
looked
I
at
don't know.
anything,
I
but
think there's a chance Montgomery plays this week because I
yeah,
think that there's a different situation here. So DeAndre Swift, for example, everyone knows that he's the starter and everyone knows how good he is. But like Jamal Williams is always, or excuse me, Jay Williams is always going to be involved regardless.
yeah,
But there's a situation in Chicago where if David Montgomery, I mean, Khalil Herbert looked really good last week, and Khalil Herbert is good. And I think that the coaching staff already was mixing him in a lot. So there's a chance if Montgomery misses a few weeks, I mean, he could just get passed up and they'll just roll with Herbert as the lead guy.
yeah. And you and I also talked about it too before drafts and the season even started. That like Herbert could be one to like just outright take that job from Montgomery,
Yeah,
and
I mean, he
showed
already
it
was
last week.
getting
Yeah,
a ton of work in the red zone, and so I do think that Montgomery like essentially has to like tough it out and play, or he could just easily get passed up for the starting job. So we'll see. Transaction wise, let's go through the transactions for this past week here. So I picked up Devin Singletary. I don't know why he was on the waiver, so I don't like. He's never going to be like the workhorse guy, but just being on the, arguable best offense in the league, I think has value. So I picked up him. Um, I'm pretty sure. Correct me if I'm wrong, Swarley, if you watch this, but I think Swarley had Robert Woods on his team at one point, but he picked him back up
um,
after that game he had last week. I don't know what, dude. How did Robert Woods even do what he did last week? I mean, Treylon Burks is very close to just breaking out all over the place. Finally led the team in routes run last week. And then like he got 3 touches on the opening drive. And then like Robert Woods just like arose from his grave and like somehow led the team in receiving last week. I don't
Yeah,
know
I
how.
did just look at draft results, and Swarley did draft Robert Woods. So
Yeah, so he went back to the Robert Woods well, picked him back up, but he also has Treylon Burks, so it doesn't matter. I just like I don't know how Robert Woods managed to do that the other day, but Eric went with the hot hand of Mac Hollins. So Mac Hollins has been running a lot of routes the whole season. It hasn't just been that big game that he had over the weekend, but Hunter Renfrow is going to, probably take around 22-23% of the team targets. So I don't necessarily know if Mac Hollins is going to ever have a repeat of what he just did, but he has been on the field a lot. Mook is just, again, picking up defensive players, dropping his, pour one out for Sterling Shepard, man. I mean, this poor guy. But he picks up Rodrigo from the Lions, and then Allen. This guy has dealt with some bad fantasy karma, I'd say, because of the just clearly one-sided trade that he made, and now he gets David Njoku, which I think is a good pickup. I was considering picking him up myself. Allen is going to be our first celebrity guest picker as well, so he'll probably be on the next week's show. There's like some scheduling conflicts this week, but when he comes on, Matt, we're going to have some questions for Allen. Do you agree? I mean, we're going to have to ask
yeah,
him about just his trading process as a whole.
yeah, he needs to give us some of his fairy dust that seems to go around in every single league that we're in. People just get gifted players, even though it's kind of a curse because DJ Moore is with Baker. So also pour one out for DJ Moore, who's one of our favorite receivers. But looking at Njoku and hearing Snake complain about his tight end play for the last 3 weeks, why did Snake not jump all over Njoku?
Yeah, so I don't think Snake thinks he's good, which I think is a flaw in Snake's analysis. And it's also a Browns player, so he probably just didn't want him. But I mean, historically, Jacoby Brissett targets his tight ends at a top 5 rate in the league. They've made David Njoku, a top 3 paid tight end. Like, it's pretty evident that he's going to be a big part of the offense. And he obviously had that big game last Thursday night. So yeah, I was strongly considering picking him up myself. But Aaron Judge just hit a home run. There you go. There's number 61 for Aaron Judge as we're doing this video. But all right. So before we head to the week 3 picks, we're going to talk about our Wonka Wote of the week. It was going to be me. Essentially, from the time the video ended last week, it was going to be me because of as soon as the video ended, I said to Matt, I was like, why did I just pick Snake to win? Why did I make him my lead pipe lock? I deserve to be Wote of the week already. Like, he's not going to win. And in Snake fashion of recent years, he did lose. He choked. When I put all my chips in on him, he choked. So it was going to be me, but the fantasy gods have.
I think your exact words were, I can't believe I just picked Snake. The more I looked at this, there's absolutely no way that he wins.
Yeah, I mean, it was evident he wasn't going to win. I don't know. I tried to, I guess, I don't know what I was trying to do there, but it was clear he wasn't going to win. So it was going to be me, but the fantasy gods, the divine fantasy intervention has come, and the Mook fantasy curse has returned. It was away for 3 weeks. I mean, this is the most cursed fantasy football player in the history of fantasy sports. He single-handedly ended David Johnson's career by drafting him number 1 back-to-back years, and I don't think he's played in a game since then. And he's just, almost ended Patrick Mahomes' career. Remember when Patrick Mahomes hurt his knee really bad, and I don't think he ever missed a game, but there was a 30-minute period where we're like, will Patrick Mahomes ever play football again? Yeah, he was on Mook's team. Just the number 1 curse in all of fantasy football. But I mean, it's back. Myles Garrett almost, passes away in a car crash. He was on Mook's team. Like I said, he needs Sterling Shepard to get 17. Not an unreasonable ask on a Monday Night Football game against a Cowboys team. What does he do? He tears his ACL. Christian McCaffrey could be hurt now. Missed practice on Wednesday. I was hearing some rumors early this week that he was hurt. So he's banged up. Minkah Fitzpatrick is concussed. So yeah,
he also has Brady too, which maybe that's why Brady's not playing so well.
He has ended Tom Brady's career. He has successfully ended Tom Brady's career, the greatest quarterback of all time, arguably.
And probably Tom Brady's marriage too.
Yeah. He's not. You know what? That's a great point. He is not only ending fantasy careers. He's ending this guy's marriage. No one had heard about this tension between him and Giselle, but before Mook drafted him on his team. This is insane. So, Tyreek Hill, I hope you're all right. Juju, Nick Chubb. That's what we said. Pray for Nick Chubb.
Well, Nick
because
Chubb
he's on
is
Mook's
Nick
team.
Chubb is safe. We have established Nick Chubb is safe. My wife's infatuation for Nick Chubb outweighs Mook's curse, so Nick Chubb is safe for everybody that has Nick Chubb shares.
Yeah. Man, that's scary. But all right, let's get to the week 4 picks. Matt, which matchup do you want to talk about first here? Let's go. Me and Swarley. What do you see between me and Swarley in week 4?
All right, I got you this week. I keep saying it every week. Russ can't be that bad. So, yeah, we'll see. Waddle is Jalen Waddle. St. Brown, we'll see. Sutton will continue to do what he does. Barkley still performed last week, should be fine. Henry showed a little bit of life. Pitch showed a little bit of life. Damian Pierce is getting a lot more run. And you just got a stable of guys on the bench you can just drop in there whenever. Garrett Wilson, we'll see what he does with Zach Wilson back. I like your running backs more than his, I think. Like Chase Edmonds, who knows? Herbert banged up. Not sure he should even be playing, but just again, you said you're going off a feel. That's all I ever do is go off a feel in this. So I like your team more this week. So I'm going with you.
Yeah, I still like Swarley's team a lot. I think that he's right in the mix. But I'm gonna take myself as well. I like some of the matchups for my guys, but it's gonna be rare I pick against myself just because I like my team so much. So I'm gonna go with myself as well. Next matchup we're going to talk about is we'll go you versus Rick. So this is a great match. Two really good teams. Second place versus fifth place, 3-0 versus 2-1. I'm gonna pick you, and I think you said you're picking yourself as well.
Yeah, I went back and forth with this. I initially had Ricky. Josh Allen and Diggs scares me against Baltimore, but I don't know. It's close enough for me to ride myself. I think the rosters are overall. I'd say I have a better roster, but he's just got the firepower with Allen and Diggs. But yeah, I think I have a little more upside than he does. So when in doubt, look out for player one. Take it myself.
Yeah, Ricky, I think we've talked about this, but for him each week, it's really going to come down to what he gets from those last 3 to 4 people in his lineup because Allen Diggs are going to do what they do. AJ Brown is pretty much going to do what he does, and then even to an extent, Joe Mixon is going to get better than he's been. Still due for some touchdowns. I like the Bengals a lot in that Thursday night game, so we'll see. I'm assuming Joe Mixon is going to be in a good game script there. I think the Bengals can win that game. So it's going to be what he gets from Claypool and Kareem Hunt and those guys. His top end of his roster is going to do what it does. But I'm going to go with you to win this week. Next, we'll talk about Allen and Juck. I think, this is a little narrative spot here because Allen's going up against the team that he just robbed blind prior, a few weeks ago. But I can't pick against Allen's team. It's just too stacked. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I agree. This is my lead pipe lock of the week. I think 3 out of 4 weeks I've picked Allen as my two out of 4 weeks I picked Allen as my lead pipe lock. Jack just does not have the firepower. Swift dead, like you said. Zeke essentially basically dead. Gibson gonna be replaced by somebody that was literally almost dead. Chark, who knows? DK had a better week, but basically dead. Kyler, almost dead with COD coming out in a couple weeks. So, I don't know. It's way too much firepower. Hurts. T. Higgins. Christian Kirk's even been really good. If Allen can stay afloat, Eckler and Najee Harris, again, can't be that bad all year. So, yeah, just too much firepower, lead pipe lock.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep going back to
Pretty
the.
concerning. He's been doing what he's doing with Najee and Eckler. I mean, Eckler, literally his first round pick, doing nothing
Yeah.
to this point, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I'm gonna go with Allen as well. The next matchup is first place Eric, defending champ, and back in first place versus Snake. This is my lead pipe lock of the week. I'm going with Eric over Snake. Snake burned me last week. I'm going against you this week, Snake. Montgomery, probably not. I don't know. We'll see if he plays, but as he alluded, he has Jay Williams that he can plug in a good spot. But I don't know. It's tough to compete. Tough to compete against this team right now. I mean, Lamar in the highest over under the week, 51.5, with Andrews. He's got CPAT, even though we don't really love CPAT. Good matchup for CPAT. 50 sneaky 50 over under for the Browns Falcons. Myles Garrett, Devion Clowney, JOK, all potentially out for this game. So I do think it can shoot out. I mean, Amari Cooper is first in the NFL in percentage of his team's air yards. Clearly, has a good rapport with Brissett going, fitting in that shootout, little correlation with CPAT, and then Cooper Kupp as the Monday Night Hammer. I think Eric is going to stay hot and go 4-0 here.
Yeah, it's just a little too much. Still no Dak for CD. We talked.
But CD might actually be better with Cooper Rush because they have actually been. So he has
the
scored.
Cowboys might be better with.
Yeah, he's played 3 games with Cooper Rush. He's scored in 2 of them. I think he's averaging about 70 yards. But that game can go either way. That divisional game, I don't know. It's just weird. Adam Thielen, he could get 15 or 0 in that London game.
Yeah, he's got a 0 from his tight end. That's just a given.
Yeah, and there's another reason that Snake's going to lose this week. It's written in the stars that he loses this week because of what will happen next week, which I'm going to talk about after our marquee matchup. But there's a reason that Snake's going to lose this week.
Okay, yeah, like you said last week, the more we look at this, there's no chance that he wins. But it's tough too, because I like Snake's roster and think that he can make a run, but I mean, if he starts 0-4, 0-5, it's gonna be tough sledding to get back.
It's tough to come back. I mean, even with 8 out of the 10 making the playoffs, it's tough when you get in a hole, man. I mean, you get 1 or 2 games down, it does get tough to rebound. But I don't know. I think it's going to be an 0-4 start for Snake. I can't believe it. Would you ever have imagined that prior to the season starting, an 0-4
No,
start?
especially looking at his team after draft night. I think I said I liked his team the best out of anybody. So
yeah, he has a solid team. Honestly, he really does.
But yeah, he's just running into a buzzsaw this week with Eric.
Yep. All right, let's head to the marquee matchup: Battle of the Blood, father against son, Mando versus Mook. Two of the 3 winless teams. Someone is getting their first win of the 2022 season this week when these 2 teams square off. And I'm going to tell you that Mando is going to win this game. And there's a reason why he's going to win this game. And it's what I just said, why Snake. It's written in the stars. If we look ahead to week 5, look at who plays against each other in week 5. Mook and Snake, the 2 brothers. It's written in the stars that the 2 brothers will both be winless. And it's going to be a battle of which is the last team to get their first win. It's set up too perfectly that they're both going to be winless heading into that game. So Mando's going to get his first win this week, in my opinion.
I picked Mook this week.
That's good that we differ, though, so that we don't have the same exact pick straight up and down.
Yeah, got Mook this week. Didn't know about McCaffrey until you said that. I like Chubb. I will say
it's Wednesday. Wednesday is when a lot of these guys sit out, so we'll know more on Thursday and Friday. But I was hearing rumors that he was dealing with an injury and then he didn't practice today. So I don't know. He might legit be hurt. I don't know.
I feel like with Ramondre, I know he said could be getting more run. We'll see. They could just ride the hot hand, and if Harris is hot, they could ride him. I do not like Jeff Wilson Jr. or Cam Akers this week going against each other. Those are two tough defenses to run against. So we'll see. I don't know. I just, again, based off of feel, I like Mook this week. So that's where
All
I'm
right.
going.
I mean, Nick Chubb is in the nut spot against the 32nd ranked team in rushing efficiency allowed. Nut spot for Nick Chubb this week. Great spot for Tyreek Hill. So he kind of came out and said, like, "Oh, Eli Apple, like, I'm coming for you." And then Tua said, like, if he sees Tyreek in one-on-one with Eli Apple, he's throwing it to him every time this week. I think Mariota is like a sneaky play this week in that shootout with the banged up Browns defense. But it's just written in the stars. Mando has to pull this out. And I like the Burrow chase. I think the Bengals are going to win that game. Like I said, Miami defended 90 plays in 90-plus degree heat last week. Now they have to travel, short week, to Cincy to play the Bengals. The Bengals are wearing these, like, white-out jerseys. I mean, how are they going to lose wearing those jerseys? We'll see if they make a switch, but because I do think the Dolphins are smart. So we'll see if they come out and play a little more cover two. But they have been super man-heavy this season. Jamar Chase just absolutely eats man coverage alive. So I think it's a really good spot for those two. I think TJ Hawk is in a decent spot. He finally scored a touchdown. I think Stevenson's ascending. I do worry, like, if Montgomery doesn't play, like, Mook's lineup's looking really good with Herbert in there and Nick Chubb, and Tyreek. So I think it's going to be very, very close. But Jordan, you need to win this week. Okay, you cannot rob us of this winless matchup between Mook and Snake next week. Like, do not take that away from us. I can't wait for that to happen. So I like Mando this week.
I mean, I can't fault that logic. So
Yeah, it's just gonna be so good. But yeah, excited for week 4. Matt, do you have any final thoughts here before we get out of this podcast?
I hope hope I can move to 4-0. I mean, I feel like 4-0 is probably pretty safe to, like, guaranteeing playoffs.
Yeah, especially with 8. So this, I don't know. I'm excited to watch this battle for that 7 and 8 seed. I think it's gonna come down to the last week of the season prior to playoffs. I think it's gonna be really contested. So I'm excited for that. Like I said, Alan is gonna be our first guest for Celebrity Guest Picker. If you guys would like to come on, reach out to me or Matt, and we can schedule something. But yeah, good luck in week 4, guys, and we'll see you guys in week 5.